in the live stream, my dog begins to bark. My God, that is live TV and live streaming for you. Welcome, everybody. My guest is already on the screen. I'd like to welcome Annette Jalloh to Basement Chronicles, but this is a Sunday interview, and this is part two. The first time she was so gracious. Remember, Annette, I was traveling in Calgary and we were doing
Yeah.
it out of the vehicle, and you were just so gracious. I thought it would make sense to have you back for a part two of our interview. So welcome, my friend. Oh my goodness, nice to see you again.
It's nice to hear that, friend. Okay, I'm friend to Lisa. That's cool.
Don't you
Thanks
absolutely?
for having me, Lisa.
Yes,
Appreciate. Yeah.
absolutely. How have you been? It's been about, I think, a month or 6 weeks since we last spoke.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
Sometime in April, if I'm not, mistaken. How have you been?
Thank God. One day at a time.
Your
You know
busy
how it
life.
is. Yeah. Busy,
Yes,
busy, but life
and
goes
since
on.
yes, it does. As since our last interview, I was on your podcast, and
Mhm.
what a production! Oh my goodness, I got so many things that I want to ask you about, and for us to talk
Okay.
about, because it's one thing to see the finished product, but to see the enthusiasm, I love to see husbands and wives working together, like creatively, because that's how Hillary, my husband, and I started, right? So it's like, oh, that is so cute.
Thank you.
That's what I was thinking the whole time, Annette,
Oh,
right?
thank
So
you.
let's talk about that a little bit, about what it is like being in production. What is Medanne Productions doing right now, and what's next, perhaps? Maybe we can start there. But before we do, let's shout out our people in the Think community. Let's say hi to all our followers in Edmonton, especially in the Think Meetups group. Annette, you came for the first time, right?
Yeah.
How was it? Oh my gosh, Livash.
Mind blowing. I had such a great time. It was just like the vibe, the atmosphere. It was lovely for first impression. Hey, I'm hooked.
Good. You're gonna come
Yeah,
again.
the people, and I like the activities that were done, specifically the one about just like sharing idea about a non-profit organization. That made me kind of think deep, right? And those ideas were so lovely. All of those ideas coming from
Yes,
participants.
it
So
was. It
yeah.
absolutely was. And I learned a lot about setting up the nonprofit, because one of the things, the Think Meetup, which happens once a month, if you're listening, the Think Meetups happens once a month. It's for the Black community here in Edmonton, and it's a growing movement, right? You won't believe how many of us there are. Oh my gosh, did I say that?
Right,
Oh my
right.
gosh.
It's a
And
beautiful
at
platform.
the meetup, there's networking, yes, but there's also sharing on financial education,
Yeah.
which for me, and I think for lots of other people being in business or even just running our private lives, we need that. And a lot
Right.
of information, as Annette was saying, there was this part where Michelle, our lovely host and so dynamic, right? She led us through that whole process of, if you had a nonprofit, what would it be? And we shared ideas at our individual tables. It was really great. Yeah,
Yeah, it
absolutely.
was.
Yes.
I'll show up again.
And you show up again. And it
Yeah,
moves around. It's not like in one place. So we get to visit
right.
Black establishments in the city and, just enjoy the good food and camaraderie.
Mhm.
It's all good.
And I now I owe you Sierra Leone jollof rice, and
Yeah.
then you can.
All right. So I didn't even know. So how many are there? Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my gosh, West
Yeah.
Africa, we are notorious for
For
all
jollof.
kinds. Yeah,
Oh,
but
wow.
ours Sierra Leone jollof is a little bit different from the mix in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, but
It's
I'll let you be the judge when I prepare that one of these days.
Oh, I'm ready. Like, well, let's go. I've tasted Nigerian, I've tasted the Ghanaian one, and so
Yeah.
now the Sierra Leone
Yes.
jollof rice. I heard that it's perhaps similar to what we do in the Caribbean, like pilau. We do a pilau that's rice and it has chicken in it, and
Right.
you kind of like stew it up and
Yeah.
yeah. Go
So we
ahead.
have the fried rice, which will be closer to pilau, and then
Oh,
the jollof rice. I guess jollof rice is a West African thing.
yes. I love the Ghanaian one. I have to tell you because and we have somebody in the community who does the best
Yeah.
Maybe I'm no judge because I've only had hers and I'm just hooked. That is really good. So anytime you need a taster, and I'm open to learning
For
it as well.
sure. Yeah, for
Maybe
sure.
that's
Well,
nice.
sooner than later, we'll
Good.
arrange for that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So then let's go now to Medan Productions and Our Lives Narrative. How is that going? You've had some very interesting guests. I've really been getting more into it because I guess too I've been a guest on it, and like when you get to know somebody, their things become your things. That's how it works, right? And that's
Right.
why you say like in marketing and all of the things, it's know plus like plus trust equals buy. And part of that whole process is just getting to know what somebody does close up. So that's what's
Right.
happening between and you.
Nice.
So tell
Nice.
us about the guests and what have you enjoyed, that kind of thing.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thanks for having me again, Lisa. So
Yeah.
I'll start from Medan Productions. So Medan is Mohammed, Ned, and
The
Annette.
love of her life. Okay.
So,
Mohammed
so if it doesn't make sense, that's what that means. It's just
yes.
a combination name. We started about a year and a half, 2 years ago, because I realized that well, my husband is a singer. He's a registered nurse.
Okay.
He's left-handed, so that
Oh.
comes with additional skills, they say. So he's a
Oh.
singer. Yeah, he's a single songwriter, and he's always liked to do videos and pictures, right? And for me, back in the day, I only had Facebook. Of course, I've had Facebook for a while,
Uh-huh.
but this is me. I would post maybe once every 3 months. I'll take all the videos, all the pictures, and he makes fun of me that I keep it on my phone.
Okay.
And yeah, so he has this passion for taking videos and taking pictures. So I'm like, and then he used to volunteer. Well, he
Uh,
still does for community events. I'm like, well, why don't we just start a side hustle, a side business, right? So we can put this artistic ability to use. So that's what brought about Medan Productions. So regarding the podcast, Our Lives Narratives, we actually wanted to bring information to our community. I mean, he can tell his own story, but what
yes.
I
He,
found,
so
we
can we say that he's going to be on the program very
yes,
soon, right? Yeah.
and he can tell it in his own way.
Uh-huh.
We've as you get older, right? Um, I guess age just it comes with wisdom, and you look back at all the mistakes that you've made, and you reflect on why you made those mistakes. And most of the time, it's because of lack of knowledge,
Yeah.
right? Lack of insight.
Mhm.
So even before, let's go back when we were in nursing school. We started this mentoring program for little kids,
Mhm.
age 5 to 15. The goal of that program also was we were helping kids with homework and all of that.
Oh. Mhm.
Yeah, but primarily is providing mentors to these kids wherein early on they can start thinking about career choices. So the goal was to bring speakers,
Mhm.
people that will interact with these kids so that they can start their journey early on.
Mhm.
Because if you don't lay that foundation, you know, you're
Yep.
bound to fail.
Absolutely.
So
Mhm.
that program, wind down, unfortunately. But then we still have this in the back of our minds that we wanted to bring information to our community. So having the production backbone, we decided let's start a podcast. And
Mm.
like you said, when people usually start, they start audio,
But
but
yeah, but no, not
not
from you.
right. Well, thank God we had that, and my husband will go like he's a perfectionist. So right from the get go, he's like, we need it to be right. We need to
Yeah.
get this right. So that's how our live narrative started, and I shared, you
Mhm.
know, uh, at the last episode that it wasn't me, that I wasn't the host at that time, but
Yeah.
life happens. And I've been praying to God, what else can I do outside the four walls
Nine
of
to
my
five.
home, right? Being a
Yeah.
mother, being the nurse, and all of that. And aha, it fell right on my lap that I had to take on being the host.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that's how our
Mhm.
lives narratives. It was a different name before. We did a whole, branding from right from scratch, and I was thrown into it. But I enjoy it now, Lisa. It's been such an incredible journey. Working with my husband on the production side, on the our lives narrative side. I feel like it's brought us to a different era
Yep.
in the relationship. It brought kind of like a spark. My
Mm-hmm.
husband is in love with me even more than ever.
Aw, that's
You know
awesome.
how you share that your husband likes to see you out
Oh
there.
yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
it's similar.
Mhm.
Finally now I can take those photos, I can take those videos, and I'm comfortable to share them and post them, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so basically bonding. We'll continue to develop this bond, and we're growing.
Mhm.
You know, and of course it comes with a lot of patience. We have to
On
give
whose side? Let me guess. Who's been patient with who? I remember my days.
me. No, no, no.
Oh,
Uh-oh. No, I think he's overall, I think he's more patient, and he gives me grace because this is the first time I'm ever embarking on something like this.
mhm.
And of course, I'm trying to handle my own side of the equation, preparing with guests and all of that. But then I'm trying to do little things like, share the videos, the photos to our guests.
Oh yeah.
And,
Can we talk a
those.
little bit about that game? Like you have that down pat. I learned so much from you the last
Mm,
week because I think my interview with you went out last week, right? It was last
right,
week.
yes.
And Annette,
Power,
what I
power packs.
oh my gosh, yeah, it was. I was listening to my. I was like, Who's this?" Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's nice.
I don't know that I want to do too many of them because I myself made myself tired. Listen to my stuff. I was like, "This is too much. This is too much." But here's what I wanted to talk about and compliment you on.
Oh,
It is that marketing game. It's the way that you believe in the podcast and you also want to share it with the world. So you and your husband together. Okay, you are the host of the podcast, and then there's this whole other production in terms of taking out the clips, pulling them out, and tagging people and putting it out in the places that matter. That I'm like, this is exactly how it's done. This is exactly how I think like you have about 1,000 followers already. I'm like, oh my gosh,
um, we're
yeah,
heading there, God
heading
willing.
there. And I
Thank
realize it's because of the kind of effort and enthusiasm and strategy that you put into moving the interviews and making them accessible to people across platforms. So Annette, I'm learning from you, girl.
Oh, that's nice. And I'm like, okay, so this friendship is gonna go far.
It is gonna go far. We have work to do. Okay, we have work to
Yeah.
do. Yeah. I also think like, did you ever try an audio podcast ever?
No,
No, you just
not
jumped right into television because
yeah.
television is way
But
harder. Like video is way harder than just audio,
right,
obviously, right?
yeah.
So
But
yeah,
what MJ is trying to do is setting the stage is to get these like the audio version
yeah.
onto those audio streaming platforms. Yeah, so that's coming. It's in the works.
Well,
Yeah.
you so how lonely is it in your lane? Like how many moms do you know apart from you and I? And perhaps a couple other people like doing this media production work. I won't forget like when Hillary and I started. I met him in the media. He'd already been like 20 something years in the media, or maybe
Mm.
close to that. and then I came in as a host in the TV station where he worked. So we got together that way, he behind the camera and me being the host. And one of the things when we got married and had the two small boys in St. Lucia, it was just the loneliness and the uniqueness of our situation. Being a couple who was working, not just doing marriage together, but also doing production together and having two little ones everywhere with that was crazy. But how do you feel not being like this is not normal, especially
Mm-hmm.
for I think black wives kind of thing. Do you ever
Mm-hmm.
feel that you're one of a kind?
Yeah, actually, that got me thinking right now. Which, yeah, I haven't seen a lot of that.
Nope.
I agree. It sounds like I am now in the stage that you guys were
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you guys started.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the support has been really great, though. Even though isn't like a mentor, like a couple mentor out there,
Yeah.
right? Support has been great.
Yeah, what it is, and I think too, it's to realize people do life differently. What do you think about that? Like, I think we spoke about that in your podcast. We do life differently, right? And even couples function differently as well. What's your view on that?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, because like I said, we didn't do this before, right? And then you guys have both couple have to have this mutual goal, right? In order to be able to come together,
Mm-hmm.
right? We were, of course, parenting and were husband and wife, but that never clicked until now. So we have this one thing other than
Yeah.
mom and dad, right? Married couple that we can share. So we have a common goal basically.
Mm-hmm.
Once that sets in, then it's just it makes the process easy,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I find naturally things just they're bound to go well, right? Because you're doing this, it's something different. It's fun, it's exciting.
It's
You're
sexy
learning.
too.
Ah,
Oh, it is.
it
It's
brings
very
out the
exciting to see
yeah,
your partner at work. It's very exciting. Like people should
different
do that more
from
often.
yeah, from being that nurse, from being that mother, right? Is like, and like we give compliments to each other. So my
Mhm.
husband will tell me like we just cheer each other on, and like he'll tell me, "Wow, I told you you got this." I'm like, I didn't even think I can do this. It's not like right away being in front of a camera and you know. But I've always had that's why we need to practice or we need to get involved and like volunteer, get involved in things because
Mhm.
that's the only time you know the qualities that you have. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like I'm very active at church. So I've been involved in leadership roles and in things that need organization. So my husband already saw that. So
Mhm.
I'm bringing all of those
Qualities.
value
Yeah.
qualities into the podcast. Even with nursing, even working in a community, you have to have some form of organization to do it. So yeah, I didn't think media would be where I'll be transferring those skills, right? Yeah, and even my husband, the way just like this, it's almost perfection. I mean, there's always growth, right? But the rate at which he's doing all of this, I'm just like,
Yeah.
it's mind blowing. I tell him like, I know you're smart, but like you're just going at a really fast pace, which is really nice. So those compliments, you're doing a good, like even with what you're saying right now, just organizing. So we meet with the guest, right? So my eyes are like everything. We're both out there looking.
Yeah.
for people that will bring value to the platform. So that's where it starts.
So
So
I
that's
mean,
where it
that's
starts.
lovely. Keep on doing what you guys are doing, and I think too, in a sense, us here working in this field in Edmonton, we are literally creating a repository for future generations to look back and to say
Right.
that these were the people who pioneered in this and this place. These are the people who were around us because we're all involved in interviewing each other and giving voice and
Right.
platform to what we all do. So I think that is amazing, and it's amazing time to help our community rally around these kinds of
Mhm.
movements because they will serve us better in the future to know who's doing what, where you can go
Right.
for help, where the resources are, all of the things. The next thing I want to move into is you and how you've been changed with the guests that you have interviewed over how many seasons now, Annette? This is the
So this is season two.
season two. Yeah.
We're heading to 7 episodes. Season. I didn't host that one,
Okay.
but then I've hosted 20. I think we'll 26. Your episode is
Yeah.
26 episode.
26. Okay,
Yeah.
wow. I had such a lovely time. I got to see the
Yeah.
yellow piano. I got to see the setup. And it says warm in studio as it looks on camera. That's what I have to say. Like it says warm. It's sometimes like, just being in the field for a long time, especially when you are recording,
Yeah.
it's energy. So it's either good energy or it can be a bit like standoffish or you
Mhm.
get the vibe, and people used to say when we had the studio, Hillary and I, that it was just warm and very family like when you came in there. It wasn't like having all
Yeah.
what we call stoosh in the industry.
Yeah.
But it was wonderful, beautiful to just be on that chair and you as the host just make people want to talk. Stuff came out that I didn't want to talk about, which is I'm not usually stuff came out that I hadn't thought would come out, and I so appreciated just your presence and how you conducted the interview. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. So let's talk about the people who've
The people.
impacted you, maybe one or
Yeah.
two, and how.
Awesome. I like that question because part of the reason I keep going is because of that, right? There's a thing that I do, my intro. Okay, even before I get there. So I've learned
Mhm.
I'm that person that likes to give compliments.
Yes, you do.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm
Yes,
glad you're agreeing to
yeah.
that.
You just
And
nice. Yeah.
I I'm glad. I think the way I was raised and the man that I have, I just feel secure in who I am. So dishing out compliment for me, it comes easily,
Mhm.
right? So I find bringing that piece into the podcast is just life transforming for my guests.
Yeah.
So when I do my intro, and MJ has found a way to capture the guest, like when I read the intro,
Mhm.
like you just see the lead up, and you go back and look at your video, your clip.
Uh-huh.
When I read the bio and
Mhm.
the camera is on you, like there's just this sense of happiness, satisfaction. It's like, wow, that me? I've had guests say, is that actually me? So
Yeah.
that's one thing I think had like right from the get-go
Mhm.
that it just brings this calm and this, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to open up.
Mm,
Right?
yeah.
Um
That's also
so
strategy too, by the way.
thank
We know that in the business. That's also strategy.
Yeah,
But
and
it
I
works.
didn't know it though. I didn't
Oh yeah.
know. I just started it, and then over time, I've seen the impact that that's creating. I'm like, I'll rather take that 1 minute to do that bio and launch into, So that's one for my life. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I
Mhm.
was in a bubble, Lisa.
Yeah. Oh wow.
But I had this thirst for more. Like I said, I'm active in church, and of course, my church is really big on find your purpose. Like you
Oh
can,
yes.
look at your gifts and see how you can do more.
Okay.
So I had this thirst to do more, but then I didn't know what that is. I always make fun of him. I'm like, people like us, we don't have extra talent. We're
Mhm.
ordinary. I
Oh
know.
wow. Like, that
Yeah.
that's not the case, is it?
Yeah, I guess not. So, and then here I am. I meet this guest, Lisa, from
Uh-huh.
different walks of life. You know, people like you.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God, you don't even
Well,
know what it
I'm
means.
number 26, so don't even try. I'm number 26 of how many interviews? So no way.
But, but when I get to know your work,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
I realize how authentic. So that's how I handpick me and MJ. That's how we handpick our guest.
That's what it is.
You have to have something unique to bring to the table. Look at Rihanna. Oh my gosh! Like
Yes.
I met, I met, I learned about when African women talk through a colleague of mine that was already a member, and then she introduced me to Rihanna, and just the reception from the get go, I was just like, wow, and just the interaction on the platform, and I'm just like, I'm there. I'm active on that platform. I'm looking at my next guest, looking for my
That's
next
how we have
guest,
to do it.
right? So, like, my life, oh my gosh, has been transformed. And
Yeah.
when I see the feedback, little me, Annette, and my husband doing this, and just those compliments, like, wow, that satisfaction is, I can't even explain it. It's
And
like, I haven't been, I'll admit, I haven't been in this, you know, area for that long, but what the platform is doing to people,
mhm.
my guest and the people outside, like when I get feedback, our community are not good at commenting. I wish they can comment,
Yeah,
leave these
people,
comments.
I
It really
know.
brings about momentum. But Lisa, I'm so grateful to God that I know with time, as people get to listen or watch, these videos, these episodes, as their lives changing. I always say, if my viewers' lives don't change, my life is changing.
Yeah.
That even at that, to me,
Okay.
is a plus, right? So
Yeah.
it's been. I've had people from the healthcare. I have a doctor, one of the doctors that has volunteered his
Uh-huh.
time to come on every 3 months
Oh, is that the one who did the thing on
on
diabetes?
diabetes. Yeah,
Oh,
he
he was.
got
I listened to the entire thing. He's so
yeah.
good. Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, he's got another one on the weight management that we
Uh-huh.
did last
Mm-hmm.
year as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so can you imagine, how much workload that
Mm-hmm.
gentleman has?
Yeah.
That he's seen something,
Yeah.
right? And he's seen a platform where he can volunteer his expertise, his time to give back to our community. So I can go on and on. There's people
Well,
from
if I may, let me, because we have, I wanted to go different directions. I'm
okay.
really interested in you as the podcast host, and like, give me one or two of the biggest lessons that you've learned from guests in particular, like maybe one or two that have deeply impacted you. I know I've interviewed people, and afterwards I've been speechless, like, what just happened? Who is this? My head feels like it turned inside out, I remember the first time I interviewed Levar, that happened to me. I was like, okay, who is this guy? What is he talking about? I felt like I just got an extra piece of information and my head got a little bigger. Sometimes there
Yeah.
are guests that make you feel that way. So I'm wondering whether you've had those eureka moments and whether you can share one or two of them with us.
So I think one of them is that area of finance.
Yeah.
I that
Yeah.
I've made mistakes in the past, because not because I'm extravagant or I'm wasteful, but just because I didn't know how to go about it,
Hmm.
right? So I've had a gentleman that's shared, like, he's been in the finance world for a couple years. um so just how you prioritize your needs,
Mm,
versus your wants, like like some of these things, it, but
yeah.
when you hear that upfront and be like, Okay. I mean that we've learned over the past couple of years, and we're working on that. We're
Yeah,
getting better.
yeah,
But that area I find for me personally is where I need a lot of work, you
yeah. Me
know.
too.
Yeah.
And so he was on your show. He was on the
It
show.
was, yeah, it was last sometime last year. So
Okay.
just using our resources,
Yeah, that makes
in the right way. Because it doesn't matter how much money you make.
how much you keep, right?
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
how you can manage that,
I
right?
think we're getting some feedback. Sounds like we're getting a bit of feedback. Did you hear that? Okay.
Um yeah, a
No,
little bit.
not anymore. That's good. And so, and on that note,
Mhm,
like I even my the Sunday program is kind of evolving because
okay.
like I'm not I want to I love that I love the focus on Edmonton, on the Black community in Edmonton, but then there's a bigger immigrant community in Canada, which I'm
Mhm,
also interested in. And there are lots of people doing amazing things. You know what I mean? So
right.
like it's evolving, and I've learned that when you don't know which path to go, maybe it
Mhm,
is really have not come to a fork in the road, and you just continue to go along that path, and it will reveal itself with the numbers or with
right.
what's working, what isn't, where the right path is. So I'm saying that because some of the people that I want to interview are in our community, and some
Mhm,
are not, So I'm working with Yemi, Yemi?
mhm.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
yeah, I decided to like, just go to her. I was like, Yemi, I need help with the bookkeeping, and she wrote this book which is very good, and all of
Mhm.
those things. She had attended, I did Pitch Perfect in January, and she was one of those who attended. And it
Okay.
was pretty successful, transformative for those who came. It wasn't like super well attended, but people got transformation. And Yemi went on, she wrote the book. And now
Mm.
Yemi's doing great things. So I'm like, okay, let me start working with her. And you are right that even sitting across from somebody in the interview kind of chair, you learn what's possible, who you can work with, and your whole world expands because you've taken the time to get to know somebody before an audience. That
Yeah.
kind of works, right? So anything else you've learned? So we did finances. Any other eureka moments with any other
Yeah.
guest?
I didn't mention Yemi because I
Okay.
didn't want to read, but I can do that. Yemi already did her episode. It's
Oh,
coming
did
soon.
she? All right. So she's gonna be here. I've invited her
Oh,
here.
nice.
You
Yeah.
see? Did you see why I get to talk? How was it? It must
She
have been
is
very impactful.
phenomenal.
She knows
She
her
is
stuff. Yeah,
filled with she
yeah.
has this wealth, and I just like how she's bringing her medical expertise into
Yes.
finance.
Clinically,
Oh my gosh,
clinical.
right? She is just so enthusiastic,
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Uh,
and she made me think about finance in a whole different level, from a
yes,
different lens. So
yes.
that's another one. For me, it's mostly finance, right?
And
So if you're doing finance, and even now just kind of doing that bookkeeping aspect,
yes,
I'm
yeah.
struggling. So I
Mhm.
already have a copy of Yemi's book. Um,
Yes.
I just need I just need to get time and sit and zero down and get all the
And
details.
get her
But
to coach you because you'll be coached. Like wait, like
she's
we've been working
phenomenal.
the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm already coached. I'm already like, okay, when Yemi
Right,
calls, take the call, okay, because it's for your benefit. She's asking you for this and that and that, and she just
right.
gets to it. I'm so grateful to have discovered her and to known her on that level. I've known her personally, and now on a professional level. Uh,
Nice.
they
That's
say that there's a lot of mistrust in our community, that we mistrust each other. And I believe that the one way that we actually get away from that is to take a chance on somebody. Of course, you do
right.
your due diligence, you set standards, you sign contracts, whatever, but take a chance on people. Let's start from
Yeah.
you can do this as opposed to
Mm,
I don't know if you can, you
right.
know?
And
So,
let me touch on Rihanna.
yes.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, that's the oh,
Oh
her
my God, the
was
way she's
wonderful.
brought women from all across, it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
That's that's the first time for me to see that outside my Sierra Leone community.
And she feels it, you know, she actually is about that life. She
Yeah,
actually is about
and our interview was like, how do you find time to do all of this? And again, it comes with personality.
yeah.
Like, if she didn't have those qualities, I don't. It's one thing to have an organization, Lisa,
Yeah.
but like, what's the point if it's not impacting the lives of individuals? I think that's the goal. And I feel like Rihanna, I don't know about other people, but you're agreeing with me right
Oh,
now.
absolutely.
She is inspiring so many women. She is so selfless. She leads by example. I always say she
She
walks
does.
the
Yeah.
talk,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
How she finds time to support every woman in her organization, I don't know. She has a gift, and I'm glad that she is in that capacity where she's touching life. So she is one, and she's opened a lot of doors for me. She's so supportive. Like,
She's
you know
very she
how
is. Yeah.
I always say, when you know how when you're in school, you have those classmates, they always want to get A,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't want anyone else to have an A,
Yeah.
right? But I'm like, I can have A, you can have A. Like, what difference does that make to you, right? So
Exactly.
she's just getting everyone along with her, everyone to succeed, everyone to thrive and blossom. So that's another woman
Mm-hmm.
that has touched my life. And you,
Oh my gosh.
I've
No.
always admired, I've always admired people speak.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm my husband says I'm not surprised that you are doing that now in a way, right? In your own way. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's and watching immigrants speak, because coming here as a teenager, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that self-identity, right? You're trying to speak,
Oh
you
wow.
don't have no accent and all of that.
Yeah.
And when I used to do my presentations during like high school, even university,
Yeah.
I was always like timid. I
Mm.
wasn't like really ever bold enough because I have all these excuses in my head that I don't sound, you know. But now I see immigrants, men, women out there speaking irrespective of their accents, like what?
Yeah.
And the way you speak, I'm just like, okay, I I'm
Thank
gonna be doing
you.
some coaching. So yeah, so that's another thing that I've always admired people in the background,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll never like I'm really good in small groups, right?
Mm.
But now I can't believe I can pick up the microphone and just like
Well, yeah. Well,
right and
and exactly too. Like we think public speaking is just like standing up before an audience, like you know, in person. But
right.
you have the number of people you reach on the podcast. So that is one form of public speaking. I have this. I should probably put it up if you don't mind. Just bear with
Okay,
me.
go ahead.
Yeah, I have this. Could speaking be in your career? I have this like questionnaire for people. So if you are listening right now, please scan that code and you can go to do that test. Because here's the thing, you are doing public speaking with the podcast. And literally, you are reaching way more people than if you just had to be here in Edmonton in one little conference room speaking to people. You're reaching way more people. It's non-linear. It's anytime people want, they can tune in, they can watch the replay, that kind of thing. So yeah, you have a voice that endures. So please do
Thank
not
you.
in any way, discount that. And I love what you said. Look at how you releasing your voice, like you and MG, releasing that voice and taking up space opens up a new creative avenue. Yes, for you guys as a couple, but also for other people to come in. And I think, just if I may, that's why I do what I do. I've been thinking about, like, Lisa, what's the end game here? I
Yeah.
see us people who have talent and things to say confidently and capably be able to say it, to communicate with that fire within you that ignites other people. And that's gold. That's the whole jam.
Thank you. And that is so true. I've So another motto mantra for our live narrative is
Yes.
ordinary people.
Yeah.
I've had people that they've never done any speaking before.
Oh.
Yeah, that they're like, I know I want to say something, but I don't know. I've asked a couple people, and they're like, no, I don't have any
Send
insights.
it
Like,
my way, okay? Send it my way.
sure. And they came to the platform and just like, I'm glad you mentioned that warmth
Yeah.
that we got you. Like
Yeah.
you have way more than you think you have. And at
Exactly.
the end of the process, like their insight is
Yeah.
gonna transform so many people. So yes, it's
Love that.
what we do is providing this space, giving
Mm-hmm.
a
Mm-hmm.
voices to people that normally would not speak
Have
up or
yes.
share all of
Yes.
their expertise. So that's another reason why we keep going. So
Okay.
for as long as we can, we'll
Mhm.
continue to bring those stories and ordinary people. Hey, the celebrities out there too. You guys are you guys
Well,
are
yeah, for sure. I want to pitch it
there's
like
room.
have a
There's
nice
room
little
for
tip along.
everyone.
There
There's room for
absolutely is.
everyone.
So, how
Yeah.
long is your season, Annette? How long is the season?
Um
Yeah,
that's a good question. So we're wrapping. We might hopefully we might hit 30 episode and just take a break
yeah,
and look after other things like the business side of
side of
things
things. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
how we can get all these beautiful stories out to more
I think
people.
so.
Because yeah, the visual is good, everything
It's
else is on
beautiful.
point, but we
Yeah.
want the message out.
Okay.
Right.
So, folks, if
Yeah.
you're watching, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Okay. So that's how we go up in the ranks, help us get the message out there that
Right.
these kinds of stories on these days, we should probably put the link to Our Lives Narrative because it's actually going by Medan Productions. That's what we need to look for.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
are you guys going to change that or is it going to
We'll
stay?
see how if yeah, we'll
Yeah.
we'll see. Because we're
Okay.
trying to, like you said, when you start, you don't
Yeah.
really have a focus,
Yeah,
right?
you don't know. So
Now
I know, yeah,
yeah, we're trying
you
to
guys,
figure out how we can distinctly separate, but then Medan Production powers our lives narrative. So yeah, we're looking at all those options so that way when you go search for our lives narrative, it's
yeah.
easier to
Okay.
find.
Makes
Absolutely,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah. But then if
Something
you just type
looking
in
for.
your name, it will come up anyway. So
Yeah.
that works as well. Okay, so next question. Let's talk about you said you came here as a teenager. Oh my goodness, girl. I came here as a fully grown woman. Okay. I came here 13 years ago and I was 38, right? 38 or 30, 30, something like that. I'll be 50 this year. So I've been here since 2013. But you came
Okay.
as a teenager. I'd love to hear a little about that story and also about your mom, who is, your mom is blind. Like how? And raised the family is still involved. Let's talk about that part of your life. Would you?
Okay. So I moved to Canada when I was 18. Just finished JSS 2 is what we call it in Sierra Leone,
Mhm.
which is equivalent to grade 11, going into grade 12. So of course my mom had already traveled for surgery. So she's done all of the groundwork. My mom, oh my gosh, like she is a go-getter. For
Mm,
what I can remember about her, she was a teacher back home. She taught home economics, so
mm.
teaching people how to cook and
All
sew
the
and that kind of
recipes,
thing.
all the
Yeah,
recipes,
all
right?
of that in
Yeah.
between. Yeah.
Mhm.
So she's helped raise a lot of kids right back from Sierra Leone to here. So let me talk about my journey first, and then I'll talk
Mhm.
about my mom.
Yes.
So I came here,
18.
ready to go to 12th grade. And then when you're in 12th grade, in order to graduate, you have to meet certain criteria. One, you have to meet those criteria that satisfy like the curriculum. So
Mm,
things like career life management, which you may think doesn't have anything to do with engineering or nursing, but you
Mhm.
need to do those. Um, you have your core, right?
Mhm.
And then you have your non-core. So
Right.
I have to fulfill all of those criteria in order to get my diploma. So looking into going to university, I wanted to pursue engineering,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
So I needed my physics, I needed my like a number of math classes, and then you need those non-core as well to
Mhm.
graduate. So for the longest while, Lisa, my summers were always engaged with going to school.
Oh my gosh, to
The
catch up.
first summer, I went to summer school to do my physics because I couldn't fit all of that into the year. And I was not waiting another semester. I wanted to graduate. So
Mhm.
I had summer school. And then I graduated. And then going into the program, I needed some other classes. So basically, my summer was full as well, trying to meet all of those criteria. I went into engineering. I
Oh,
can't. It
wow.
was
Mhm.
just too much to handle.
Okay.
So I will take like maybe 4 classes in the semester and then maybe do a summer class. So
So
I'm
you
all schooled out.
whole
So
summer.
I've been in summer school for a very long time,
Okay. All
even
right.
in nursing. When I switched from engineering,
Mm.
of course, they took some of my classes, but I had, courses that I needed to meet criteria,
Yeah.
English again, and
So you
all of that.
switched from engineering to nursing?
For nursing, yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I was talking about identity, right? So I've
Yeah.
left, basically, that's another thing too. When people travel, we only concentrate on the parents, the sacrifice that the parents, they make, right, to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
But sometimes we ignore or we don't really acknowledge what the kids are going through as well.
Okay. What did you go through?
Just that loneliness, like I feel like I was starting over. Because if you think about it, you've had friends from elementary school, right? Go through school, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you most likely will be going to university with some of these friends.
Mm-hmm.
Now here I am. I don't have that.
So how did you handle it?
I I made some friends. I had cousins, a couple cousins here that went to the same high school
Mm-hmm.
as myself. So we just became close, and I just try to get involved. Like my non-core classes, I joined a music class,
Oh, nice. Okay. All
a
right.
dance, a dance class. So I brought some of my African vibe to
Okay.
that dance class.
Nice.
And
Okay.
I think that's one of those classes that really helped me because I'm like, oh, okay, I do have something to give,
Mm-hmm.
right? My dance teacher loved me. Like even when we did our final performance, like
Mm-hmm.
our
Okay.
exam,
Okay.
I was like the lead for that little group, and we did really well.
Oh,
So
wow.
just getting involved as much as I was able to, making starting to make friends,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And university. But
Mm-hmm.
then that's another area that you're kind of like starting
Mm.
over again. So I was able to make, and Dalhousie has a lot of immigrant
Okay. You
students.
went to God. You were down.
I went to
Oh,
that.
nice. Oh, wow. We get some students from Dalhousie University coming to do graduate school at the
Okay.
University of Alberta, and they just never
Yeah.
had problems getting in there because you come from
Yeah.
Dal. Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay. So,
yeah.
so
So just made friends that are from Nigeria, Antigua. Some of
oh,
those are still my friends.
Antigua.
Yeah, I am. I'm
Oh,
seeing my
wow.
Antigua friend really soon. We haven't seen each
Nice.
other.
So
So
you
yeah.
mm, okay.
I think for me that is my story, and then also talking about the financial aspect
Mm-hmm.
too, right? I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have that background
Okay.
as well,
Mhm.
right? So Yeah.
Yeah, that you keep on bringing it up, and it's so important. We have to take a closer look at it. One of the guests I've had here on the Sunday interview is my good friend Michelle Edie, and Michelle she is Black Canadian, born here with Barbadian parentage, and
Mhm.
that's one of the things she said, that it was never taught in the school system how to navigate finances in Canada. So far as if a Canadian doesn't know it, coming in as an immigrant, like you are way
Mhm.
more disadvantaged. So it,
Right.
it means like I think we're in the right place in this group with the Think meetups to be able to learn, because that is exactly what, a lot of what the group pushes is about getting the financial aspect of our lives right. I love that,
Mm.
absolutely. So can I ask before, because we have to end unfortunately. So two things. You see how you have come and opened up so many more interviews for me. So we're going to be interviewing MJ at some point for sure, very soon. And I'd love to interview your mom and hear her story of how she came and what it was like for an immigrant who's lost her sight. Like, what is that like, and navigating life so well? So we want to talk. What I would love to ask you, and it is, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned in all of the years that you've been here? Like, what are some of your biggest lessons learned in life?
I feel I'm grateful to God I have that support. Um, it's a key for any immigrant. And find I have way, way more support.
Yeah.
So that has been a blessing having my parents around. We don't have to worry about child,
Daycare, childcare. Yeah.
right? They're helping us save lots of money. So I would say if you don't have that, which mostly is the case for immigrants,
Yeah.
you have to create a new social network,
Mm-hmm.
right? For me, I was all like I said, I was always in my bubble, maybe because I can, right? I can afford to just stay within my student community. I felt self-sufficient, right? I have people to turn to. I have parents and community members, right? So you have to start from all over, like I started in high school,
Mm-hmm.
to university. Just go out there and start creating your own social network.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, no man is an island, they say, right? In terms of navigating and settling, you need
Mm-hmm.
you'll need that,
Yeah.
right? Um, People that have been in the system, how they did it, and it's just inspiring.
Okay. What I wanted to, are you okay? You look
Oh
like
yeah, yeah. I just remembered I was 17. Well, not anyways, doesn't matter.
you were 17, not 18. No, that's fine. Yeah, because you did say grade 11, and I was kind of thinking about, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's
So,
fine.
so
That's
yeah, so Bill,
fine. Uh-huh.
that's one of the greatest thing too, right?
Okay.
And
Awesome.
just being out there, my community, and I've seen that there's that need for information, need for insight, need for inspiration. So because I have all of these people in mind and backed up with my own experience,
Mm-hmm.
that gave birth to our lives narrative. So
Yeah, that's great.
don't look back, go out there. That's one of my biggest lessons. Like
Yeah,
you need people, right?
yeah, we do. We
Trust
need
people
people.
that you can trust though.
Well, yeah, that too. You're gonna get
Right?
burned, but don't let that stop you and just like brand everybody because one person burnt you.
True.
I think we need to do due diligence, and we also need to give people a chance. Let's just give people the
Being
benefit.
open-minded,
Be
right?
open minded.
But
Yeah.
we have a lot of like
Yeah.
we have people they have lots of good ideas,
Oh
great
yeah.
ideas. And I like what Think is doing, Levar, like his team,
Yep.
keeping our resources. That's another thing too for me, right? We need to pull those resources together. We
Mm-hmm.
need to support one another.
Mm-hmm.
And how like even us talking about podcast, how can we come together? You have hairdressers, you have people in different walks of life. Of course we can do our own individual thing,
Yeah.
but how like I've learned so much from you, Lisa, and you're saying you're learning from me.
Oh,
So you never
absolutely.
know, right?
Mhm.
We can pull those ideas together
Yeah.
and build and grow. I
Yeah.
think we'll grow even better individually when we have this team of people
Absolutely.
putting their heads
Well,
together.
thank you very much. Annette, can you believe a lot of the time we spent it was just like talking good things about other people? Oh my goodness. You're my kind of woman, okay? No, we did.
Oh,
I love that. You know, there's a verse in the Bible that means a lot to me, and it says, do not withhold good from whom it is due when it is in your power to do so. And it's not just about
right,
resources, it's also about compliments. And when somebody's doing a good job, that you telling that to them gives them like renewed wind beneath their wings. Maybe they
right.
didn't even know that they were impacting people in that respect, and you come and speak life into them by giving not a manipulative flattery, but a compliment that
Yeah,
comes from how that person has impacted you. Like we just spent so much time just doing that for our community. My
yeah.
goodness,
We have another thing in common.
I'm that way. I'm not sure why people are not. A lot of
Yeah, I
people
wonder.
they hold back compliments and stuff like as if I say to you, you're gonna get your head is gonna get bigger, and
Right,
we don't need anything for us to get more puffed up. Thank you very much. That's the first thing. And secondly, it doesn't take anything from you to say that
right.
somebody else is doing a good job. It actually makes us look better as humanity. So why hold it inside when you can just release the compliment and go on your way, you know?
Yeah,
So
don't
well,
keep them.
yeah, we're not gonna keep them. We're gonna spread them. We're gonna let
Right,
them go, right? Give them wings. Yeah.
right.
Well, all the best, Annette. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
being here, taking time on a busy Sunday to be here. And thanks to MJ for taking the boys out so we could have our interview.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So
Yeah,
looking
he's my
forward.
rock.
Yeah,
After Jesus, he's my rock.
y'all need to write your love story. You know what? Somebody needs to put the two of you in your own chairs, okay? And
Right.
interview you. That's what needs to happen. That's
I
how.
want Roger will flip. Oh my
Would
gosh.
he do
Like,
it? I think he
what?
would do it because he already has a career out there, like singing, being out
Yeah.
there. So I'm sure he'd do that interview
Well,
like
I
that.
wonder how he would take, like, is the video right? Is that,
Oh
like,
geez, no.
who's doing
We ju-
yeah.
we just say to him, "You are not the producer today. You are the guest on the podcast. Thank you very much. We'll
Right.
deal with
Yeah, for
everything
sure.
after."
We should
All
work
right.
something out. Yeah.
Yeah, we absolutely will. So I guess I'll see you around. We have to get together for coffee, even in the summer. Although I
Yeah.
might,
Yeah.
well, maybe not coffee, but let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, take
Thank you,
care.
Lisa. Keep
Thank
doing your thing.
you.
And
Thank you so much, and thanks for a
I will
wonderful
watch it.
interview. Like
Thank
just
you.
bringing the best out of me, in my opinion. So I'm grateful.
Thank you so much for having me as
Okay,
well.
everybody, if you've been listening, my guest has been absolutely gracious, warm, and like as you see, her hair is exactly as she is. Honestly, so one of the deeply authentic people in my life. So thank you, Annette, and thanks to everybody for joining us. We do have a guest next week, Sunday, same time, 12 noon MST. And I can hardly wait for you to meet that person as well. I'll put out the promo bright and early so everybody knows and can, prepare for next week. Okay. Thanks, Annette. Bye.
Thank
Take
you.
care.